Hey guys, and welcome to the Amateur Grow Life. I'm going to be taking you through my first ever grow. This grow and my current grow that I'm busy with, which is almost near completion, were unfortunately before I decided to make this YouTube channel. So the videos for those will consist of some commentary and taking you through the pictures I took during those grow cycles. From my next grow, which will be my third grow, I'll start doing a combination of video and picture updates that should make the videos a bit better overall. In this grow, I just bought my tent and my setup, which is nothing major, but you'll see how it goes. And yeah, to test it all, I got some bag seed, which I like to call lucky packet seed, because you never know what you'll get. I started by planting 6 of them in an egg box, and then covering them with a little bit of soil, your standard soil that you would get from your garden or compost. And I left them to sprout. After they'd sprouted, I then moved them into smaller pots that I'd bought. And in the video now you will see that some took slightly longer to sprout, but as they did I moved them into pots and then shifted them into my grow tent. I decided arguably too early to move these seedlings into my 10-litre pots. I'd used some soil I bought from the garden centre, and they were pretty tiny when I moved them into the pots, so I was quite nervous that they weren't going to be okay, maybe wouldn't adjust. But yeah, they soon started growing, and at a nice rate as well. As they grew, I started having some issues. Being my first grow, I didn't have the experience, the knowledge, so I learned how to deal with it as I was growing them. So from the pictures being shown at the moment, you'll see that as I went through the various stages of vegetation, I dealt with some overwatering, plants showing that they needed more nutrients and not enough, too much nutrients because I was then cull magging and got my ratios wrong a bit. Then the light was too close, so there were signs of some burn. Then the light was too far, and this just sort of went back and forth until I found the right medium, and I eventually found where these plants were happy, and they started bouncing back from there. After these plants started bouncing back and I got a nice shade of green on them and recovered nicely, they then started revealing their genders. There were signs of sort of what genders they were, but these showed at different times. So at first I found one male, which I then removed from my tent, and then a few days later, probably it was probably a week or so, I found another male, which I then removed from the tent as well, and was eventually left with 2 females. So one was confirmed female, and the other one was sort of starting to show gender, so I waited for that, and yeah, they looked nice, plump, healthy, and ready to go. So around this time, my wife and I just purchased a house and moved into a sort of temporary cottage while we did some renovations on the house, and moved these plants, the 2 females that I had with us. And what I found a few days after the move is that one of the females then decided that it wanted to be both genders. So while it was producing your white pistils, and there was a few sort of early sign colas that were there, but then there were also the pollen sacs. And as the days went by, these pollen sacs were producing at a very rapid rate, and eventually I had to pull it from the tent as well and be left with the one female. So yeah, as soon as everything looked good and I knew I was down to a single female, I then went into flowering. And looking back now, I probably would have built some sort of structure for support, but as you'll see in the pictures here, as the plant grew bigger and the flowers got heavier, it just sort of started hanging in the tent to whatever side it felt. So I try to keep it off the wall of the tent as much as possible, and yeah, we went into flowering. I can't recall exactly how long my flowering process was, but I used a microscope that I attached onto the back of my phone and waited for the trichomes to, of course, be as milky as possible. And then I went into harvest and cut the tree down essentially to just the stem. Did a general cleanup, and then hung these on a coat hanger back in the tent, that way I could keep it cool and dark in the tent. And yeah, I didn't cut too much off of them in terms of the sugar leaves and all the rest in cleanup. I let them dry a bit in the glasses, and then once that was done, I could cut those down and put them into the glass jars. All in all, I was quite happy with my first grow. It turned out exactly how I expected it to, just sort of getting an eye for things and seeing how it all works, and what to expect. You know, if I look back now, my second grow that I'm currently busy with has taught me different things to what my first grow taught me, and I think as we go, I'll get better at it, which is nice. You know, it's a good thought to have. But yeah,